And so today, we're announcing something very special. We're announcing NVIDIA NVLink Fusion. NVLink Fusion is so that you can build semi-custom AI infrastructure. Not just semi-custom chips, because those are the good old days. You want to build AI infrastructure. And everybody's AI infrastructure could be a little different. Some of you could have a lot more CPUs, and some of it could have a lot more NVIDIA GPUs, and some of it could be somebody's semi-custom ASICs. And those systems are so insanely hard to build. And they're all missing this one incredible ingredient. This incredible ingredient called NVLink. NVLink so that you could scale up these semi-custom systems and build really powerful computers. So this is the NVLink Fusion. Whether you buy completely from us, that's fantastic. Nothing gives me more joy than when you buy everything from NVIDIA. I just want you guys to know that. But it gives me tremendous joy if you just buy something from NVIDIA. And so we have some great partners. L-Chip, Astera Labs, Marvell, and one of our great partners, MediaTek, are going to be partnering with us to work with ASIC or semi-custom customers, hyperscalers, who would like to build these things, or CPU vendors who would like to build these things, and they would be their semi-custom ASIC provider. We also have Fujitsu and Qualcomm who are building their CPUs with NVLink to integrate into our ecosystem. And Cadence and Synopsys, we've worked with them to transfer our IP to them so that they can work with all of you and make that IP available to all of your chips. So this ecosystem is incredible. But this just highlights the NVLink Fusion ecosystem. Once you work with them, you instantly get integrated into the entire larger NVIDIA ecosystem that makes it possible for you to scale up into these AI supercomputers.
It is clearly obvious that the next big technological platform will be artificial intelligence, AI. Big internet businesses are investing tens of billions of dollars in data centers to run the computational power needed for artificial intelligence, AI, as the new technology seen in chatbots like ChatGPT has quickly gained traction. It's simple to understand why Nvidia has benefited the most from this growth thus far. Since ChatGPT's introduction, the company's graphics processing units, GPUs, have been selling out quickly, and demand is still exceeding supply. With inventions like its CUDA programming language, which makes it simple for developers to write code that can run directly on NVIDIA's GPUs and create high-performance applications, the business has been leading the data center GPU industry for decades. Although NVIDIA has already produced enormous gains for early investors, many others are unsure if the company's stock is still a wise investment. A recent historical case provides a useful corollary. Thanks to the recent release of the iPhone and iPad, Apple was the most valuable corporation in the world in 2012. The corporation was valued at $517 billion on May 15, 2012. With a market valuation of almost $3 trillion, Apple has undoubtedly continued to provide investors with substantial returns. But this isn't solely because of the company's expansion. It's also because investors misjudged its potential for expansion. It was given a price-to-earnings (PE) ratio of only 13.5 by the market, possibly because it was already the most valuable corporation in the world. The iPhone's explosive future growth and Apple's services division, which is centered on the App Store, turning into a huge cash cow, were not anticipated by investors. At the time, Apple's price was lower than that of the S&P 500, which had a PE ratio of 15.9. Due to share buybacks, Apple's stock price has increased by around 1,000%, or 11 times, while its market capitalization has increased by almost 6 times, or 500%. The expansion of the company was not the only factor driving the stock's increases. Since the stock now trades at a PE ratio of 33, Apple also profited from multiple expansion, which contributed significantly to the stock's gains. There are several things to learn from Apple's journey over the past 13 years and its 2012 valuation. First, investors often underestimate the potential growth of the biggest companies in the world. Additionally, investors may undervalue the possibilities of the upcoming significant technical advancement. In 2012, mobile technology was still in its infancy, and the boom that would propel Apple and numerous other tech companies' stock prices higher was only beginning to gain momentum. However, Investors appear to overlook that rather than take it into account when determining Apple's worth. Today, Nvidia might be in a similar situation. The stock is shockingly inexpensive, despite the semiconductor industry's well-known cyclicality, which raises doubts about Nvidia's and its AI counterparts' prospects for future development. Nvidia's stock has increased in value following a recent surge, and it currently trades at a PE of 45 and a forward PE of merely 31. In contrast, the S&P 500 has a forward PE ratio of 20.5 and a PE ratio of 25.7. Despite Nvidia being the driving force behind today's most significant technology, the stock is also less expensive on a forward basis than a number of slow-growth businesses like Walmart and Costco. Analysts predict that Nvidia's sales will rise by 53% this year and 24% next year, despite the fact that it is now trading at a premium to the S&P 500. There is a fair argument that investors are underestimating the growth of AI today, just as they were underestimating the growth of mobile technology in 2012. Nvidia may not become a 10-bagger like Apple was in that year. Nvidia will probably benefit greatly over the next 5 to 10 years if that is the case. So, what implications does this have for Nvidia's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on Nvidia stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now, let's get back to the video.
You heard there Jensen talk about the roadmap and being quite open and being quite excited about the roadmap for the next 5 years. He started off talking about potential partnerships, Taiwan as the epicenter of the computer ecosystem. Where do you think this is leading in terms of the next innovative step at Nvidia? And there's a lot to unpack there, given the stresses and strains in the global economy and the difficulty in managing the China market.
It's a great question, and I think what they're looking at is, what that future is going to look like, how AI is going to be applied. We've seen a lot of conversations around this concept around agentic AI, which is the ability to take the APIs and create decisions and automate those decisions. That's been a big growth and a boom area, especially inside enterprises. There's a question as to how the chips are going to be doing in terms of once we get past Vera, Rubin, in terms of the Blackwell market and who's buying them. And I think if you saw from the deals that were going on in the Middle East over the last week, there's still massive demand. There's, of course, the China story, which is really about what chips will they modify to make sure that they're compliant for export for China. And, of course, they've been addressing all these things at the same time. But I am curious as well. I wonder if they're going to announce the headquarter change to Taipei or Taiwan, and also curious as to what they're going to do with chips and chip making in India, of course.
Ray, if that does happen, then in terms of the headquarter switch, then what would be the deeper significance behind that? What's the message that Nvidia is sending by doing so?
Well, what they're doing if they actually move Nvidia to Taiwan is basically saying they're no longer an American company. And that may create some issues in terms of global export compliance, or it may help them with global export compliance. And second of all, if NVIDIA does move to Taipei or Taiwan in general, what that would also give them is it's a protective barrier for the Taiwanese government for attacks from China. So it's an interesting move if that is truly where they're going to head.
Taiwan, Jensen started off by describing Taiwan as the epicenter of the computer ecosystem, and then he went on to describe Nvidia as an essential infrastructure, not a technology company, but an infrastructure company. If they do decide to make that move to Taiwan, Ray, then does that give them a better springboard to pursue their geographic strategy? We've already heard about Nvidia in Saudi Arabia and the Humane deal. We are well aware in India that they're looking to double down in that market. China has proven to be quite challenging. Huge growth prospects in Southeast Asia, of course. Does that move enable them to expand further?
The move actually helps them with China export and export controls. I think that's really the main issue there. I don't know if it helps them in any other way than that. The deals that were signed in the Middle East were really based on the fact that NVIDIA was an American company. So I think there'll be a lot of backlash if they were to move. So it'll be interesting to see what the U.S. president will say if that truly happens that way. And then, of course, it's not like there's other competition in the space for these types of chips. So it would be walking a very fine line and a very interesting tightrope in terms of geopolitics.
Nvidia made a number of announcements as it entered this year's Computex Taipei Tech Show on Monday. These included the creation of humanoid robots and the release of its powerful NVLink technology, which enables businesses to construct semi-custom AI servers using Nvidia's infrastructure. The announcements coincide with Nvidia's recent success following the U.S. government's announcement that it would no longer implement the Biden administration's AI dissemination guidelines, which would have restricted which nations may purchase the company's AI processors. During his visit to Saudi Arabia, President Trump also discussed Nvidia, which announced that it would provide several 100,000 AI processors to Humane, a Saudi Arabian sovereign wealth fund-owned AI business, over the course of the following 5 years. Nvidia unveiled its Nvidia Isaac GR00T Dreams during the event on Monday. According to the firm, this technology enables developers to generate vast quantities of training data that can be utilized to teach robots new actions and environmental adaptations. Physical AI is the next trillion-dollar market, according to Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. The business is relying on developing the software required to teach and control humanoid robots in factories prior to their eventual release in our homes in order to get there. Nvidia demonstrated its robotics capabilities as well as its new NVLink Fusion offering, which enables users to utilize Nvidia's Grace CPU and a third-party AI processor in conjunction with Nvidia's diverse server infrastructure products to create unique servers. Additionally, customers have the option to combine one of Nvidia's AI chips with their own CPU offering. According to a statement from the business, hyperscalers can integrate Nvidia rack-scale solutions for smooth deployment in data center infrastructure by collaborating with the Nvidia partner ecosystem through NVLink Fusion. The goal is to increase the options available to infrastructure clients for the configuration of their server and data center systems. Nvidia is also developing what company refers to as its RTX Pro Blackwell servers in order to achieve this. These servers, powered by Nvidia's Blackwell Server Edition GPUs, are expected to spearhead the transition from CPU-based systems to efficient GPU-accelerated infrastructure. Nvidia says the systems are designed to run virtually every enterprise workload. This includes use cases like running agentic AI programs, design and simulation software, and more. The company also unveiled its DGX Cloud Lepton, which gives customers access to cloud-based AI processing, allowing users to create and implement their own AI software. Nvidia says it can do this by collaborating with partners like CoreWeave, Foxconn, SoftBank, and others, which will host a global network of GPU clouds. Nvidia's announcement comes after months of uncertainty surrounding the company due to worries about semiconductor tariffs, new export controls that restrict its ability to ship chips to China, and rumors that Microsoft is terminating some data center leases. Because of this, Nvidia's chart resembles the design for an insane roller coaster with steep dives and quick climbs. Shares are down more than 4% over the last 6 months and flat year-to-date as a result of the volatility. In spite of this, Nvidia's stock price has increased by almost 43% in the past 12 months. On Monday, Nvidia revealed a new software platform that will establish a market for artificial intelligence chips that run on the cloud. The market for training AI models is dominated by Nvidia's graphics processors, or GPUs, and a number of new cloud providers, known as neoclouds, have arisen to focus on renting out Nvidia's CPUs to software developers. Examples of these companies are CoreWeave and Nebius Group. However, Qualcomm has covertly resurrected such efforts after purchasing a group of former Apple chip designers in 2021, and they are currently in talks with Meta regarding a data center CPU. Last week, Qualcomm announced that it has a letter of agreement to create a custom data center CPU with Humane, a Saudi Arabian AI company. Qualcomm announced on Monday that it would include Nvidia technology into its next chips to enable faster communication with the company's graphics processors, GPUs, which form the core of its AI chip line. We're bringing a common vision of high-performance, energy-efficient computing to the data center by connecting our bespoke chips to Nvidia's rack-scale architecture, Cristiano Amon stated on Monday. To stay informed about the latest developments from Nvidia and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Nvidia stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now let's dive into today's video.
Just to follow up to your point about the tech sector, I know on your list there you like Nvidia. Do you still like it? And what is it about Nvidia that you like?
Yeah, we do, and we picked up a little bit more in the sell-off. It was trading at what we believe to be really reasonable long-term PEs based on the sell-off. So, we added to it. And I think the story there has not changed. Obviously, there's always a risk of large inventory issues with a company like this, how much demand is going to be out there quarter to quarter, and it's not a cheap stock. So you have to be cognizant of all that. Yet they also appear to be in all the right places, whether it's data centers, AI, gaming, and advanced application stuff. And so they're really at the center of a lot. And I think that speaks to their growth. I think it speaks to their success as an investment. And we don't see that changing anytime soon. So yes, when it got cheap, we added to our existing position.
The business, situated in Santa Clara, California, unveiled Lepton, a new platform that enables cloud computing companies to sell GPU capacity in one location. Other companies embracing the Lepton platform include Crusoe, Firmus, Foxconn, GMI Cloud, Lambda, Nscale, SoftBank Corp., and Yada Data Services, in addition to CoreWeave and Nebius. Despite a surge in demand for chips at both major and startup organizations, the process of locating accessible chips has been largely manual, according to Alexis Bjorlin, vice president of Nvidia Cloud. In an interview with Reuters, Bjorlin said, "It's almost like everyone is calling everyone to see what compute capacity is available. Since it allows the ecosystem to expand and flourish and gives all clouds, both the new cloud providers and the global clouds, access to Nvidia's complete developer ecosystem, we're merely attempting to make it smooth." Major cloud providers like Alphabet's Google, Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft are not yet on Nvidia's Lepton partner list. According to Bjorlin, the system is set up so they can sell their capacity on the market if they so desire. According to Bjorlin, Lepton will eventually enable developers to look for Nvidia chips in particular nations to satisfy data storage needs. Additionally, it will make it easier for businesses that now own Nvidia processors to look for additional ones to rent. According to Mario Morales, Group Vice President at research firm IDC, it's a wise decision for them. About 5 million developers work for Nvidia. Therefore, they are trying to find a way to provide developers with greater access to the technology. Nvidia did not reveal the new software platform's business plan, or if it will impose fees or commissions on developers or cloud computing providers. But according to Bjorlin, developers have a direct contract with the underlying compute suppliers and will continue to have their own relationship with them. According to Qualcomm's announcement on Monday, it will produce custom data center CPUs that connect to Nvidia's AI chips using Nvidia technology. Despite being the market leader in AI, Nvidia's chips are always used in conjunction with CPUs, which are typically controlled by advanced micro devices and Intel. By creating a chip utilizing ARM Holdings technology, Nvidia has entered the CPU industry and created its own Grace CPU. Qualcomm said on Monday that it would enter the data center CPU market again. Qualcomm started working on an ARM-based CPU in the 2010s, testing it with Meta platforms before halting its development due to cost reductions and regulatory issues. However, Qualcomm has covertly resurrected such efforts after purchasing a group of former Apple chip designers in 2021, and they are currently in talks with Meta regarding a data center CPU. Last week, Qualcomm announced that it has a letter of agreement to create a custom data center CPU with Humane, a Saudi Arabian AI company. Qualcomm announced on Monday that it would include Nvidia technology into its next chips to enable faster communication with the company's graphics processors, GPUs, which form the core of its AI chip line. "We're bringing a common vision of high-performance, energy-efficient computing to the data center by connecting our bespoke chips to Nvidia's rack-scale architecture," Cristiano Amon stated on Monday. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
Well, the first simple answer is why not? This will be a natural next step, I think, of the Qualcomm diversification. I think we see a lot of growth happening in this space for decades to come. And we have some technology that can add real value added. So I think we have a very disruptive CPU. Also, the age of AI is changing how the data center is. It's now at an AI data center, and we believe we can contribute over our CPU. And then we also have the ability to run very efficient, power-efficient AI. So it's another important step in the diversification of the company, and I think there's an opportunity for Qualcomm.
Specifics, what is the timeline for the launch of your CPUs, and when can we expect those to be deployed in the data center?
Yes, look, great question. Very soon we're going to make an announcement about our product roadmap and details. I think what you started to see is pieces of information that started to come here and there. Last week in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, during the meeting of many business leaders to the Middle East, we announced with Humane, which is the Saudi Arabia AI company, that they're going to be using our chips in their data center. That was the first one. Here at Computex, I think we're now part of the Nvidia ecosystem, announcing as our CPU with NVLink as an interface. And then we just kind of said that we're going to soon announcing a product roadmap. Very soon, I think we're going to provide a lot of detail, and we're very excited about this next chapter of the Qualcomm diversification.
Now, this is a market that is incredibly saturated already. You've got the hyperscalers like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google with their own custom CPUs. You've got the likes of AMD and Intel in this market as well. Is there much space for a new entrant at this point, though?
It's interesting. Look, I love to answer this question, Arjun. This is the question that I got at the time we wanted to enter in automotive, and even people said without an acquisition, Qualcomm won't be able to succeed in automotive. We needed to buy one of the existing players. This is the same question when we entered the PC space, especially on PC. Everybody told us this is a market that there's no room for another player. And I think I look at this for the data center the same way we look at those opportunities. As long as we can build a great product, we can bring innovation, and we can add value with some disruptive technology, there's going to be room for Qualcomm. Especially in the data center, is a very large addressable market that will see a lot of investment for decades to come.
And how big a business do you think this can be for Qualcomm? Can you put a number on it?
Look, right now, the public numbers that we put in is we're super focused on the $22 billion of edge diversification. We said it on our last Investor Day across everything we're doing, from automotive to PC to industrial to spatial computing to networking. I think we're not forecasting the data center, but look, we're gonna bring products. I think our products are going to add value, and that opportunity is going to build for us over time.